Hello and welcome to the Gentle Musings podcast, a space for souls of all shapes and sizes. It's really difficult to learn to self regulate when you've never been shown how by example. Like I shared in the previous episode, what I thought were normal ways of communication were actually rude to others, and it was difficult for me to wrap my head around it. Also, whoever said home is always a safe harbor would have been a very fortunate soul. Physically safe, maybe. At least you would have a roof over your head, food and clothes to keep you fed and warm. But I've traveled a bit and I don't think I ever had the urge to run up for a hug, even when I arrived back home. Though I remembered my little brother running up to me for a hug when I came back home from a week long or so trip when I was in my early teens. I hope I was sort of a safe haven for him, at least for a bit. Because when you're immersed in the environment, you're bound to change, to fit in, to survive. Sometimes I get disproportionately triggered, and sometimes whoever I'm venting at does not deserve it. This was what I was shown when younger, and you emulate it without knowing better. Now I catch myself doing it, usually after the fact. But having that awareness at all is a step forward, I'd like to think, which is why I said it's really difficult to self regulate when you've never been shown. And on the topic of encouragement or lack thereof, which is the title of this haiku, encouragement, and in brackets, or lack thereof. You won't make money. Scoffing, smirking, causing hurt were all that I got. Remember in one of the earlier episodes, I said my childhood dream was to be an artist? That was basically the response I got. Trivializing my thoughts and trampling upon my ambition and dreams. I know survival is always number one, and whatever was said to me would probably have been understood as a harmless joke. But it wasn't that straightforward for someone who wasn't even five, maybe. To be fair, I can't remember at what age this happened, but highly likely before 9. And I remember feeling disappointed. That fervent and earnest face of mine definitely dropped, but I remember vaguely trying not to show it because someone older and more experienced at life said so, and they are more likely to be right, was what my brain basically told me. I think things would have been very different if I was given the support to pursue this dream. Not that I can't pursue it now, it's never too late. But sometimes it just leaves me wondering what could have been. Then again, we should stop thinking about the could have beens and start thinking about the what would be next. Because that's actionable. And I think it was also a matter of projection. The projection of self doubt, of the fear of failure that would inevitably be projected onto you when you talk about dreams that sound lofty and unattainable to individuals whose first priority was to really ensure they have food for their next meal. I understand their perspective, but I can't help but feel that it was so unfair to say this to a child who didn't know any better. Well, you could also say whoever said it didn't know any better either. So now it's going to be up to me, up to us to break that cycle. Thank you for listening to my thoughts.